gluten-free new ways to make smoothies this past month. This month we're going to be making one of my favorite breakfasts of all time. It is banana chocolate chip muffins. They are so good, believe me, and for all of you out there who are not Banana's biggest fans, trust me, you can't even really taste them. The bananas are just used to add a little extra sweetness into the muffin. This recipe is actually pretty healthy. It doesn't have any sugar in there. Instead, we're going to be using Greek yogurt, bananas, and honey to add in, and a little bit of vanilla to add in some of the sweetness. The recipe also calls for almond milk. I ran out of almond milk, so I don't have any more with me. So I'm just going to use my normal 1% milk. Will work perfectly fine. Also, you can use whole wheat flour instead of normal flour. I'm using just your classic all-purpose flour here, but really this recipe is super easy to switch out ingredients for healthier versions if that's what you like. I've never made them gluten-free. That's my oven going off because now it's ready to cook. But I've never made these muffins gluten-free. I'm assuming you would just need to switch out the flour for gluten-free flour. I'm not sure, you might need to do a little more research before you try it. But it's so easy, and it's so easy to make, and it's so delicious. We are using an oven today, so make sure you ask your parents' permission. We are also going to use a blender. You technically don't need a blender for this to make this recipe work, but if you want to be lazy and take a shortcut, use the blender. I'll show you how in a few minutes. It'll make sense. The first things first though is we are going to mix all of our dry food together in a bowl. So I'm going to clean some of this off here. And I'm going to get our space ready to cook. I'm also using dark chocolate chips because I like dark chocolate more than milk chocolate, but you can use whatever is in your cabinet. I've got my mixing bowl and my measuring spoons, and that spoon, I'm going to put my eggs and my yogurt, all my wet foods over here because I don't need them just yet. I will in a few minutes though. Alright, so what we're going to do is first, we are going to add 1.5 cups of flour into our mixing bowl. I like to have my flour in this big pot here. This makes it really easy to scoop out. Kind of a shortcut I like to take when baking. So 1 cup. And all right, 1.5 cups of flour. Next is going to be a teaspoon of baking soda. So I have my baking soda here. And I have my recipe I'm looking at the counter so I can make sure I'm making it right. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right, and we're just gonna mix that together. All right, and then you can set this bowl aside, and we will not need it for a few minutes because now we're going to go on to our wet foods. So let us move the flour and the salt and the baking soda aside and replace it. I've got my big cup for blender here, and I've got my bananas. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all of the wet food that we need into this blender. It'll make it super, super easy. This recipe calls for 3 bananas. Because the bananas will take up so much space in our cup. I'm going to kind of put in bananas and then some more of the wet foods, and then kind of layer the wet foods with the bananas, just so it takes up so much space. So at the very end, hopefully it will not be just like overflowing with stuff. So usually it works out pretty well. What you're gonna do is you're gonna open up your banana though, and you're gonna just kind of tear it into chunks here and just put it on in there like you're making a smoothie. Like that. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and we'll do one more banana and then we'll do some more wet foods here. And depending on the cup you're using, if you're running out of room, but just by putting 2 bananas in the blender, then you can go ahead and add some, go ahead and like kind of mix up the bananas some so that it'll be more of a liquid, and then you can add some more of your wet food and it'll work out perfectly fine, I promise. Let's go ahead and we're going to add in our cup of Greek yogurt. Go ahead and add the whole thing in there. And Greek yogurt is a really great way to add in some protein into your breakfast in the morning. Also smells tasty. Actual recipe calls for a half a cup of Greek yogurt, but I measured it out once according to what I have here, and honestly this whole thing is a half a cup of Greek yogurt. The only difference might be like a little bit of a spoonful left in here, and so I just kind of over the years I just kind of learned that instead of measuring out exactly half a cup of Greek yogurt, I'm just going to put the whole thing in here. And my recipes always turned out perfectly great. So I mean, if you're one of those people who you really want to measure everything perfectly, then go right ahead. But honestly, it's not going to be that big of a deal. So next, we are going to add in 1 egg. Try not to get any eggshell in here. I'm really bad at getting eggshells. I think I avoided it this time though. Fantastic. Okay. And next we're gonna do, we'll go ahead and do our milk and our vanilla and oil here. And this is getting, once again, crowded, so I'm going to try to clean this off some. Alright, so we're going to add in a tablespoon of vanilla, a tablespoon of oil, and a tablespoon of milk. So, strap your tablespoon. You're going to need it for 3 different things. So a tablespoon of milk. I usually drink 1%, but really any milk you have in your refrigerator should work perfectly fine. Whether or not it's 1%, whether it's almond milk or another kind of dairy-free milk or whole milk, whatever, it should work perfectly fine. And yeah, a tablespoon of oil and a tablespoon of vanilla. our honey. And the reason I try not to save the honey for last is that whenever I blend it, and my honey is usually gets stuck on the side, so I'm having to blend a couple of times. But you're gonna add in a 1/4 cup of honey. And that's just from my observation is that, I mean, it's honey, it's sticky and everything. And so I usually find the honey to be the most difficult part when it's in the blender to blend up easily. So I might have to blend a couple of times, or I try to layer the wet foods in a way that the honey is not the last thing I put in. But I add in a full 1/4 cup of honey there. Just gonna pretty much empty out my thing of honey apparently. That's okay. Oh, perfect amount left. If you can hear footsteps, that is my cat playing because she's just spent all morning sleeping. I don't know how your animals do. My cat likes to spend all night playing, and then the moment I get up in the morning is when she'll go down for her morning nap, and then she'll play. And then as I'm trying to get work done in the day, that's when she'll once again sleep, only to then beg to play here in a few more hours. So she's currently in what I like to call play mode. She also likes to be the center of my attention. So if you see her pop in any of my videos, it's because she knows that whatever's happening in that video, she is not currently the center of my attention, and she needs to change that. So all you families out there who own cats, I'm sure know exactly what I'm saying and how it is in this household. Alright, so there's all of our honey. Yep. And let's go ahead and add in our last banana. I've also a couple of times have added in some walnuts. And it's delicious. It adds in, it kind of, whenever you add all walnuts to it, and really you can add any kind of nuts, but adding walnuts to it kind of gave it a chocolate chip banana nut bread kind of texture there. I thought it was personally like really delicious adding the walnuts. Unfortunately, I used walnuts earlier this month, and so I don't have any left. But next time I make this, I probably will be adding in the walnuts. I also just really like nuts, and so I try to add them in into whatever it is I'm cooking because I like them so much. So. Yeah, seeing it's getting quite full. All right, so let's double check and make sure we've got all of our wet foods here. Let's see here, we did our bananas, we did our honey, we did our vanilla, we did our oil, egg, and yogurt, and milk. So we should be good to go there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to blend this thing up. And when that's done blended, I'll be back with you in a few minutes. All right, so I have blended up all the wet foods. As you can see, this was the shortcut, lazy way of doing it, because instead of getting another bowl out and having to mash the bananas and then having to mix in all of my wet foods, I stuck them in a blender, I blended it up, and everything is now nice and smooth and it's perfect. So I'm going to take my bowl of dry ingredients, my flour, salt, and baking soda, and I'm just gonna pour in all of my wet ingredients like this. Doesn't leave as much of a mess to clean up afterwards, which I personally like. Like that. And now we are going to mix together our dry ingredients with our wet ingredients until just combined. You do not want to overmix. You want it to be just, and you'll be able to tell when you're cooking, but just until all the ingredients are combined. as you're mixing, you're getting on the side of the bowl. Your parents will be able to show you how when you're mixing, but just so you get all of the flour, especially in this case, on the sides of the bowl to make sure everything is all mixed in nice and well. And I think we should a few more. You get to go there. Next, we're going to add in our chocolate chips. The recipe calls for half a cup of chocolate chips. I like chocolate, so I usually add closer to a whole cup of chocolate chips. I don't think, it doesn't ruin your recipe in any way to add more chocolate chips. I just like chocolate. Sometimes you just need chocolate to build your day, start your day out. If you are someone who doesn't really like chocolate chips, then by all means, you can add just a half a cup, or you can maybe even go less. And like I said earlier, I've added walnuts before, so you can add in walnuts instead. You could probably even take away the chocolate chips completely and just add in walnuts or pecans or any other nuts that you really like, and just kind of make your own like little banana nuts muffins there, which actually sound really delicious. So as far as these mix-ins go, the chocolate chips obviously turn the muffins into chocolate chip banana muffins, but they are by any means not a requirement. So now that all of my chocolate chips are added, I'm going to get my muffin tin, not a mouse, my muffin tin out, and I'm going to spray the muffin tin, and I'm going to bake the muffins for 20 to 25 minutes at 350 degrees. I'll repeat that again. You're going to bake the muffins between 20 to 25 minutes at 350 degrees. Don't worry, your parents will know exactly what I'm saying if you need help with the oven, which I do encourage. You can also use a mini muffin pan and you make mini muffins. I'm gonna make the big ones. It's up to you. But I will see you guys in about 20-25 minutes. All right, so 20 to 25 minutes has passed and my muffins look delicious. I am super excited about these guys. These are gonna be a really, really good breakfast for this week. Like I said, you can make mini muffins if you want to, or you can do what I did where I made big muffins. It's completely up to you. I usually store my muffins in the refrigerator in a Tblsp that has a lid to it, and they keep really well for a week. I can usually eat these in about a week to a week and a half, and so I never have to try keeping them longer. You can try freezing them if you're not going to eat them all 12 of these in a week or a week and a half, or you can, I guess, just toss them, but they keep really well in the refrigerator, and they're really good for a snack or for a breakfast on the go, or however it is, even maybe for dessert, however it is you want to serve them. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this month's Kids Cooking Class 101 with banana chocolate chip muffins, and I will see you guys later. Bye!